Hello, everybody. So today's lesson 711. We're going to be starting on page 385 of the second grade Go Math textbook. And our topic today is the concept of AM, PM. And so basically, how do you use AM and PM to describe times? So I want you to draw the clock hands to show each time and then write each time. All right. So in the space above, you can welcome to draw a picture. The directions want you to draw a picture and write a label for the picture for an activity you do in the morning and an activity you do in the evening. And then you're going to show the time you do each activity on the clock. So for instance, maybe you eat breakfast. Okay. So maybe you draw a picture of you eating breakfast. Okay. And let's say that since you got to be to school at, I don't know, let's say 10 minutes to 8. So maybe you're eating at 7:30. Okay. So you would draw in the hands on the clock, right? For the time that you're doing that activity. Okay. And then on the clock, right? The time. So 7:30. Now in the evening, maybe you're sleeping. Okay. And maybe your bedtime is, let's say, 8:30. So we're going to draw the hand straight down to 6 for the minutes, and the hour will be in between 8 and 9. Okay, and you're going to write that. All right. Now, in our as we talk today, we're going to learn what whether we're to put AM or PM after each one. Okay, but for now, let's just write the times in. All right. So now let's talk about this. Noon. You've heard that term, noon. That means it's 12 o'clock in the daytime. Midnight, again, you've heard that term, is 12 o'clock at night. So the times after midnight and before noon are written as AM. So 11 AM is in the morning. Times after noon and before midnight are written with PM. So 11 PM is in the evening. So I want you to write the time and then circle AM or PM. Okay, and it says eating breakfast. And they have them eating breakfast at 7:15, which is also known as 7:15. All right, so 7:15, that's after midnight, but before noon. So 7:15 AM. Okay, so they're going to art class. And we know that it's in between 1 and 2, so it's 1. And we know that 6 is 30, 35, 40. So 1:40. It's past noon. Okay, you wouldn't be doing this after midnight, right? So it's afternoon, but before midnight. So it's 1:40 p.m. Doing homework, 4:30. Okay, again, it's afternoon, but before midnight. So 4:30 p.m. Okay, number 4. Arrive at school. So 8, and I know that 5 minutes before 30 is 25. So 8:25, and in the morning, so that means it's before noon. So 8:25 a.m. 387. Write the time, circle AM or PM. Go to the library. Okay, it hasn't reached 2. It hasn't reached 3, so it's 2. And then 12 is 0 or 60 minutes, right? So go back 60, 55, 50. So 2:50. Go to the library. Well, you wouldn't be doing that after midnight. So it would be afternoon. So PM. Go to science class. 10:30. 10:30. So you wouldn't be doing this at 10:30, what we would consider night. It would be nighttime, right? At 10:30 p.m. So you'd be doing that in the morning at 10:30. So before 12 noon. Eat lunch. So it's 11. And let's see. So 60, 55, 50, 45. So 11:45. Eat lunch. Well, it's almost to 12 noon. You wouldn't eat your lunch at midnight. So 11:45 a.m. It's not noon yet, so we can't say p.m. Looking at the moon. It's dark out, right? All right, so looking at the moon, it's dark out. It's 8, 5, 10, 15. 8:15 p.m. And number 9, use the times in the list to complete the story. Don got to school at blank. Got to school. Well, this is the earliest time in the morning. Then 10:15, then 3:20 would be the latest. Well, I don't think he's getting to school at 3:20 p.m. Most of us are going home by then or are already at home. So I would say 8:30 a.m. His class went to the library at blank. Well, again, 3:20 is kind of too late in the day to be his class going to the library. So 10:15 a.m. So after school, Don read a book at 3:20 p.m. And 388. Sometimes are shown on this timeline. Write a label for each dot that names something you do at school during that part of the day. All right, well, there's going to be a variety of answers. But let's look here, basically. 8 a.m., noon, 4 p.m. All right, so what's an activity you do at school between 8 and 10, but before noon? Okay, think about that. So it looks like it's about 9 o'clock. So maybe you're doing writing. Maybe you're writing some type of paragraph or something. And then afternoon, before 2 o'clock, afternoon, you probably already had lunch. You're back in class. I don't know, maybe you're doing science. Okay. At what times would you say the dots are placed on the timeline? Okay. Well, again, it's slightly past 9. 9 would be exactly in the middle. I'm going to say maybe 9:30 a.m. And this one seems like it's exactly in the middle, so I'm going to say 1 p.m. Okay. As long as your answers are reasonable, you couldn't say something after 2. That wouldn't be reasonable. It hasn't reached the 2. You couldn't say 10. That's not reasonable. It hasn't reached the 10. Saying 8 o'clock really is not reasonable either. Okay, so a reasonable time. And finally, number 11. The clock shows the time Jane goes to recess. Write the time, then circle AM or PM. All right, so it's 11:30, so 11:30. Now, it's not reasonable for her to be going to recess at school just before midnight. So it can't be PM. So it's got to be before noon. And recess lasted 1 hour. Write the time recess was over and write AM or PM. Right, so an hour from 11:30. It means it went all the way back around. Right? So it stopped at 6 again. So we can get this out. Let's go to 11:30 to help us. Okay, so here's our 11:30. And an hour went past. So all the way back around to the 6th. And now we're at 12:30. Okay, so 12:30. But now, since we passed 12 noon, we have to say PM. So 12:30 PM. All right, so that's it for the concept of AM and PM for this lesson. So until our next lesson, I will see you soon.